presentation today is about career clarity. I'm just going to share my screen. So I'm looking forward to having an interactive session. I see people are a little quiet, so I'm looking forward to people sharing what are their views and perspective as we go through this presentation. All right, so this is the agenda for my session today. I'm going to have a little bit intro, I'm going to have a little bit of definition, steps that you can take towards career clarity, myths. There's a lot of lies out there about career clarity, so we're going to bust some of them. And then action plan. We can talk all day, but if we don't have action, then, we may have done really nothing. So it's important to have an action plan so that we know what we take away from this session. Then final tips and takeaways. All right. So what is career clarity? Is something that we would like to understand today. And Pinch Africa team, I cannot see when people are sharing or putting in comments. So if anybody puts in a comment there, just let me know. So I would like to understand from the people attending, what do you mean by having clarity? To you, what is clarity? Clarity of anything. What is clarity? When it says having clear vision of something, it's being sure, it's about being sure of something. Like you don't have any doubts. You're so sure that this is the direction, this is the decision, this is the person, this is the place, this is the subject. So you have no doubts about it. So you're very clear. Your mind is knows what exactly you have. And of course, about career is what we're going to talk about today. And what career clarity really means. It means understanding who you really are and what matters to you and where you can make a difference. Because if you don't really understand yourself, you may not even know, where you're going. And obviously, really understanding what are the things that matters to you. What are your values? What drives you? What is in your DNA? Yeah. So again, this is very important for you to be able to understand career clarity and where can you make a difference? Where can you add value in life? And then it's all about direction. It's not necessarily about perfection. You may never, maybe you think that by 20 years old, you should be able to have direction and very clear about what you want. You may not have that, but you start somewhere and you build on it and you develop. So it's not necessarily about perfection. It's all about having the right direction. And then clarity, as we said, you have to be self-aware. And once you know who you are and what it is that you're looking for, you need to have exposure. We're going to talk about that, in the following slide, but really exposing yourself out there. What is out there? What can I do? How can I add value? And obviously taking action, as we said, very important to take action when we learn. Knowing ourselves. Yeah? So to know yourself, you need to identify your strengths, your interests, your values, and your personality. It's very important for you to understand what are the things that you are good at, what are the things you do well, you know, and think about the feedback that you have received, maybe from your family, maybe from friends, maybe from your teachers and lecturers. This is also a good way of identifying your strengths. And it's important to list down the things that you're good at. As you go on with life, surely there are things that you feel like, this one I can do it so easily, and some things you may struggle, things to do with technology, for example. You may feel that you need to improve technology, but there are things that you could be good at. Maybe you are very good at speaking, very good at making conversations with strangers. And then what are your interests? Maybe you are interested in traveling, maybe you love cooking, maybe you love taking care of animals, pets. There's so many things that you can think of. And values, what is it that drives you? Are you a person of integrity? Do you respect others? What are your core values? And obviously your personality, when you show up and when you interact with people, what do they see about you? So again, it's very important to be self-aware. And then, yeah, ask yourself, what am I naturally good at? What do I not struggle to do? What makes me come alive? Maybe someone struggles with public speaking and they have to really put in effort. They have to prepare themselves, 10 days in advance. And even when they go to present, then they're nervous. And this is very normal, but it's very important to know yourself so that if you want a job that requires you to do public speaking, then you know that this is not an area of your strength. And what are the things you can do to be able to improve yourself and be good at that? And finally, it's about Understanding yourself, and obviously as you understand yourself, it will become easier for you. For example, if you love journaling, if you love presenting, maybe you could think about, maybe do I want to be a journalist? Maybe you like debating and having really good conversations, arguing obviously in a positive way. Again, you could think about, do you want to be a lawyer? Do you want again to be a journalist? And if you love caring for animals, could you really maybe become a veterinary? These are all careers out there. So again, you start with being self-aware. Unless you know yourself, it's very difficult for you to make any decision or to decide what is it that you want to do. So I know there's one guy, and I think most of the Kenyans would know him. He was a big shot in nation media. His name was Linus Mutahi. Yeah, Linus Mutahi, something like that. So what he said is, when he went to university, he studied finance and accounts, and he was very good at mathematics. So he studied that and he graduated, and then he went to work. When he went to work, obviously there was auditing, and auditing, you have to look at numbers every day. Like you have to really sit behind your screen and pay attention to details. Mostly, you may not be even interacting with people, but he was a very outgoing person. So when he stayed 1 year, he just felt, no, this is not for me. Yes, I love math, I love finance, I love accounting, but I cannot work in a finance department because it's too boring, nothing adventurous. So he decided to move into a more client facing, like a sales role. And he thrived. And he went on to be very, very successful. Of course, his background in finance helped him be able to know how does the business makes money. But he moved from finance, a role he didn't really enjoy, and then moved into sales. And this is where his success came from. So again, very important to be able to know yourself so that you're able to choose the right career path. The next step is to explore the world at work. So now you've discovered yourself, you know your strengths. And again, while you're understanding yourself, it's also important to be very honest. What are your weaknesses? What are the things that you don't do well at? So that you can know. So then once you know yourself, you move into exploring the world of work. And here, the first thing is, you gain exposure to different work environments. And you can do this through volunteering, internships, or joining students' clubs, because this is where you start then learning about yourself. And you can do internship. Maybe you can do an internship in a hospital. You see what kind of industry is hospital. You do maybe in media. What is in the media? You do in IT. Then you understand how do they do it. And all this is self-discovery and just understanding what do you really love about. And of course, for students who are still in university, college, or wherever you are, joining student clubs helps you really understand what are you good at and what are your interests. And the other thing is to research potential careers. Use online resources, university resources, and then research on different industries. Research will really help you understand, if I take this career path, or if I want to be a doctor, what do I need to do? If I want to be a TV presenter, what do I need to do? If I want to be a lawyer, if I want to be an IT person, what do I need to do? So again, this research is very important. The other one is to utilize university resources for people who are in university. I believe they have career services, they offer guidance. And then sometimes, even if you're not in university, you could do self-assessment. There's so many assessments out there that you can do to be able to discover yourself and to see your strengths. And then you need to attend career workshops wherever you see them, because again, this will help you. Then we talked about learning the industry and roles that align with your strengths and interests. Again, you attend career fairs. Different companies and governments organize career fairs, especially for students. You meet different employers and you explore what do they do. And then it's important to talk to professionals and you conduct information interview. For example, if you want to be a lawyer, you could find a very successful lawyer, and understand how is your day like? What do you do? What makes you tick? So then you understand, is this what I want? If you want to be, a presenter again, talk to somebody whom you look up to and you see that this is a job that I would want. If you're in sales, speak to somebody who does sales, somebody who does marketing. What are the challenges of being in marketing? What are the good things about in marketing? And then you will see, and what do I need to be successful in a marketing position? Then you'll be able to understand whether it is the one for you. The next step is to take action. So we've talked about understanding ourselves, then exploring the world, what's out there, internships, and trainings and attending career fairs. Now it's time to take action. With everything that we have learned, we need to take action and experiment. And at the young age, it's very important to experiment, because it will reach a point in your life where you need to really be stable, and experimenting is not, it is very risky. But when you're still young, you can explore, you can do different internships, go to different industries and speak to different people. It's a good time too, because you're at an exploration stage. You're exploring different avenues to just really understand yourself and who you want to be. So again, clarity comes from action, not just thinking. Yeah, we talked a lot about taking action. This is very important. And then try small projects, stretch assignments, online courses, part-time work, and leadership roles. Small projects. If you're working somewhere, put your hand up for different projects. The company could be coming up with a project, or even a school, they want to introduce some systems. They want to introduce a particular software. You can put your hand up to champion that. Maybe they have an event team that organizes events in the office. So put your hand up that, I want to be part of that events team, because then you understand how do you interact with people, how do you work with the deadlines, how do you work with suppliers who are going to provide for you. So this will help you understand whether you can do it. And then probably in university also you could volunteer to, okay, I want to write an article in the school. Then you see whether do you really enjoy writing? How long did it take you to write? So these are things that will help you. And then there's plenty of online courses nowadays. Learn something. If you want to do something to do with computers or to do with a particular software to do, now there's a lot of talk about AI. What have you done about AI? Have you gone online and there's a lot of free material out there and started to study and understand how can I use AI for my role, for my studies, and to make a difference in the world. So it's very important to take action, because what I always tell even people in the office is that we are at the driver's seat of our career. You're the one who is driving your career. You're the one who is driving your life. People will provide opportunities. Nuggets of Life has given you an opportunity, but you have to drive your career. You have to take the action yourself. People around you will support you, but you have to do the hard work of discovering yourself and going to career fairs, contributing, doing projects and all that. Part-time work also could help. You could even work in, maybe your dad or your relative is an entrepreneur and they have a business. You could go there and see how does it work there. Maybe they have a factory. Let me go and see how do they make bottles and all these things. Or you could try, let me do, maybe there is a program that's coming up. Can I volunteer and do probably choreography? For example, in church, that sometimes we have these concerts and we find young people coming up and say, okay, I want to help people do the choreo, teach them the dance. I want to help come up with costumes. So these are things that help you even understand, do you really like what you're doing? And again, direct you to the right place that you want to be. Then it's important to reflect on what you enjoy and what you learn from each experience. There is no experience that is wasted. So whether you've done an internship, whether you have done a small project, written an article, everything there is learning. So just focus on what you have learned. Was your experience? Did you enjoy? Did you really struggle? And then it brings more clarity to you. So we've had those three steps. Just a recap. The first step is being self-aware, very important. And then the other step is exploring the world around us, understanding what's out there, doing research, doing some courses, and also speaking to professionals and having mentors. Like what Nuggets of Life is providing, it's giving you mentors, reach out to them and understand what's the best for me. And then finally taking action and experimenting. So a little bit some myths. There's always some lies out there about something, and it makes people afraid, to explore or to even understand. And sometimes it blocks our minds. So the first one is one of the myths out there is that you must have it all figured out by the time you're 25. This is an example. And there's a lot of pressure by the society, too much pressure that why are you not clear? You need to be clear. Sometimes it takes time for everybody. So don't be too pressured, but still you need to take those small steps. Yeah, knowing that clarity comes with time. Sometimes it takes time. For some people, it's very quick. They know by the time they're 18, they already know, I want to be a doctor. I'm good at sciences. Some people are still discovering, and it is fine. Just don't put unnecessary pressure on yourself. Then some people, maybe they have started a job and they're like, your first job defines your entire career. No, you can change jobs. You can find jobs that really, align with your values. You could find yourself in a particular organization that is not aligning with your values. You don't need to be stuck there. You need to find a job or a company that aligns with your values. And remember, even as you start your career, you're still discovering yourself, who you are. I told you the example of Linus Mutahi, where I don't know whether I'm pronouncing his name properly, but where he started as finance, studied finance, but then realized he's not a finance guy. He doesn't want to be stuck in maths and spreadsheets. He wants to be more client facing, developing business, and he became successful. Don't be afraid to change. Um, and then, so one truth is that you can evolve and still succeed. We have many examples. And then every experience teaches you something valuable. As we said, there is no experience that is a waste. You learn. Even when you make mistakes, we learn through mistakes. Yeah. Um, so now it's time to take action. We've learned a lot. Where do we go from here? What do we do? So I want you guys to take a pen and a paper. We need to do a little bit of writing. Okay. And what I want us to do is we want to build a personality clarity plan. We talked about things that we need to do, but the first thing is about self-awareness. Talk about values, weaknesses, strengths, and everything. I want you to write. When you go back home, you can think about 3, 5 strengths you have. But for now, for the purpose of this session, I want you to think of just one strength, one of your strengths, and write it down. And I would like somebody to talk about it, just to mention what is your strength. That's it. So mention one strength. Okay. I hope you're done that. Think about it. What are you good at? Think about feedback you have received from people. Maybe your parents, they tell you, oh, you're really good at, you're very organized. Think about those things and write one, just one strength. Okay. Then the next one is my top 3 values. What are the things that define, what are the beliefs that really define me? Am I a person of integrity? Think about integrity is a value. Being accountable is a value that when you make mistakes, you're ready to own up. You don't want to be hiding. Okay. That's another value. You're ambitious. Again, it's a value because ambition helps us to grow and thrive and come up with great ideas. Could be that, could be respect, so many values. Think about one value that really defines you. What is that value? And values show up in our places of work. It shows up in school as we interact with others. That's our value. Because, for example, you talk about integrity, being truthful. Integrity is doing the right thing even when nobody is looking. Are you a person of integrity? When you're alone, are you still showing up with integrity? When you're interacting with people, can you be counted on? Can they trust your word? So these are values that are very important. Then the third one is my next 3 actions towards clarity. You can just write one action. What are you going to do after this training to gain clarity? And one of the things you could do, just giving you an example, is you could talk to a mentor, you could apply for an internship, and you could explore a new field. So I hope you have done that. And I would like 2 volunteers to tell us, at least one for each, actually. Can somebody tell us about one of their strengths? Lois, again, just help me here because I cannot see the audience. Anybody?
Right.
One strength, guys.
So you can raise your hand, you can unmute.
Yeah, or I will pick people. I will pick people up. I know my niece is in the
Wait, she needs
session.
more time.
Yeah, she needs time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm picking on you.
Okay,
Let me see.
I can give
Yeah,
one for each.
yes.
Um for strand, I don't know, which is sad to say, but like I can't think.
I know some of your values. Probably one of your strengths. You're very confident. It's a value.
Okay, okay.
You're not afraid to speak to people or strangers. That is one of your strengths.
Okay. Thank you.
Made it easy for you.
So okay, I found one.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Values,
And
I'd say
yeah,
honesty,
that's fantastic.
and then pre-action.
Just one. Mention one. Just
Okay,
one.
one.
Mm.
I think getting more involved with, like, not involved,
Mhm.
using the university resources.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a
Like
good one.
even if it's not uni, where I am,
Mm.
um, am I speaking to people around me?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. That's
yeah, that
good.
kind of thing.
Great. Wonderful.
Even societies. Yeah.
Yeah. That's important. Yeah. And when you're taking action, guys, don't be too hard on yourself. Start small and then you move ahead. Okay. Somebody else, who else can tell us about their strength? Lois, anybody else has raised their hand or I should pick somebody?
I think we have a hand
Okay.
raised.
Hmm.
Kimberly? Kimberly, you can go ahead. Kimberly,
So
then. Yeah.
yeah. So morning everyone.
Morning.
My strength, I'd say confidence. I'm very confident in myself.
Awesome.
Apart from also public speaking, I'm good talking to people. My
Great.
values, I am a hardworking person
Hmm.
and very ambitious. And for my action towards clarity, I'll think mine, I'm gonna go for projects and
Hmm.
seeking out to people who are ahead of me to
Hmm.
just to seek clarity about what I'm doing, to know if I'm doing it right, that kind of
Great.
energy.
Wonderful. You nailed it. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. Those are great values, great strength. And by the way, everybody, just remember we are all different, and our strengths are useful. We're just different. Thank you so much.
We have
Uh,
an and
yes.
Amani. Amani, you can
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay, so one of my strengths is my writing skills.
Hmm.
And then one of my values is integrity. And the next action plan was to, like Ajay said as well, to use my university resources. Like they have courses I can do to like gain more knowledge on different career plans and different careers. So I should utilize that more.
Great. Wonderful. I think everybody clearly understood the cause. This is great. Again, as we said, start small. You all have values. Discover yourself, and you will see that you have so much potential. There's so much to do, and the resources are there. The resources are there. People are there. People are ready and willing to support. Please reach out. That is your step. So I don't want to close out anybody else, but I could go to the next slide, Lois. Is there anybody else who has raised their hand, or shall we proceed?
Yeah, there is a question on the comment section from Dennis.
Hmm?
He's asking, with the current job market, can one afford to be choosy and things that align with your values?
Yeah, so again, as we said, we need to explore. Something that aligns with your values is very important. If you go to a place where there is corruption, there is things that don't sit well with your values, you're not going to enjoy. You're not going to enjoy, but it's also important. You cannot be too choosy. You cannot be too choosy. You need to be wise, and you have people around you who can help you make those decisions. Yeah. So again, we need to be wise. You've raised a very good point. And even in our organizations, we cannot just quit our jobs, but we need to be wise. We need to judge wisely. What is the reason why I want to go from company A to B? Is it because of money, or is it because you know, I'm done here? Because unfortunately, nowadays also we are seeing people who want to job hop, very quickly, very fast. They're not taking time to learn. They're not patient enough. So I would advise then is just really research about the company and the opportunity that you're getting, because sometimes you would rather not have the job than be in a place that is contrary to your values, contrary to your like core values. And you're talking about things like integrity. You're not talking about obviously you could be in a place where they push you to excel. That's great, but just understand what is that. I mean, a lot of people have walked away from opportunities that seemed good, but the values did not align. And you look back and you're grateful that you didn't take that opportunity. So again, pray about it, use judgment, and speak to people. Do your due diligence. Research about this particular opportunity. Research about this particular company. Does it align? What kind of culture is it? But in your mind, you will go there and learn. And sometimes it could be a stepping stone. So again, you have to evaluate, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. I hope I've answered your question, Dennis. Okay. All right. So then, so go back home and do this exercise, and you will see, and you will come up with great results. Okay. So final thoughts as we are closing. Sort of a recap. So clarity is built through learning, trying, and growing. That's how you build clarity. You may not arrive at clarity, but as you learn, as you try different things, and as you grow, you gain clarity. And then the other one is, as we say, take one small step this week to discover yourself. Small steps make a difference. You don't have to wait to you don't have to wait to go to the gym for 2 hours. You can just start with 5 minutes walk, 5 minute stretches, and then you build on that, because the small wins motivate us to do more. And then if you look at this quote, the future belongs to those who take the time to understand themselves. Again, very important.